All right, we'll dial the music down a little bit since I know you guys love it. Okay, so what's going on? We'll get to questions here in a minute. Let's see. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, every time they do any kind of token launch on Ethereum, the whole thing is a travesty. It's an absolute shit show, only made better by the fact that it's now going up in price. So all these same financial dirtbags that are telling you Ethereum's going to 10,000, 20,000, they're all complete assholes, because if that were to happen, the whole goddamn thing just comes to a halt. You can't do anything. It would price out every single person that isn't a millionaire from doing any transactions. In order to send $10, it would cost you $250. It's so stupid. But everybody at Ethereum's rich, so they don't care. And they'll go to, but they'll make it to all of the conferences and spend 4 days, jawboning about how great they're doing. These guys are all such douchebags, man. Anyway. Typical. So you just, that even gives you more kind of reassurance that those layer twos are probably the only way Ethereum survives. They're not gonna do it by scaling. They've made it abundantly clear that they have no real intention of scaling. They just have the quasi. They just continue to play the game. Oh, we'll push out an update. This is going to be the big one. The last 3 updates were the big ones. How come nothing has changed? Like nothing. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. I'm gonna put the price. Oh, real quick. You'll notice on the mints at Node Market, we're over 2,000. So once we're done with the 100% return thing, which is going to go on for a while, and basically the way that works is everybody that has a Node Market NFT gets a share of the total revenue generated by Node Market. So all the fees and stuff that go back and forth between trading, all of that goes back to the NFT holders. Just gets distributed out among however many you have. Great. Once the original, that first month group of people has gotten 100% back. They've all made their money back on those original NFTs through, fee rewards. We're going to go back to our schedule of between 20 and 30%. And now it was 20, then it was 21. So it'd be 22% return now from 22% of revenue. And you would think that would scale up as the exchange scales up. So that's good. Okay, cool. So what other stuff do we got going on? We are looking at the realities of taking some of the true AGI equity that we got and trying to convert it into a token, because no one got exposure that didn't have, it was straight equity. So we're looking at what the realities, the legalities are of taking a small portion. We're talking like less than 1%, maybe 1%. Something like that, something very small. And we're going to do a test. One, we're going to make sure lawyers say we can do it. That's the first test. We're not doing shit if the lawyers say you can't do it. We ain't doing it. But if lawyers say we can do it, then we will tokenize some of the equity, maybe a quarter of 1 point, or even less, maybe a tenth of 1 point. We'll tokenize it. We're going to take the current valuation that we paid, which private clients, digital private clients, got early access to that. We got in at a $50 million valuation, and the valuation where they're currently looking for funds is much higher. We're going to go right in the middle. We're going to cut it in half, and that's how we're going to price. Again, if we can do it, that's how we're going to price these tokens. And it would be, how we had the N Twin token. This would be the N True token. And again, if we can do it like legally, I just don't know how that works. I think that secondary market sales are fine, but since it's equity that's been converted, it's certainly not a utility asset. So anyway, we just have to look at how that is. We also may have to limit it to a certain number of participants. So if that's the case, then we'll do like we did with N Twin. We'll have a form, and you'll have a week and people can say, I want this, I want that. But this would not be an asset that you're going to be like going back and forth and trading and doing all that stupid stuff. This is a long-term, very, very illiquid investment. So I would just, but for people that couldn't get in, that missed true AGI and wanted some, we would do it at half of what the current valuation is, what they're looking for, and they got some cool stuff coming out. There's a lot of people in the Singularity Net ecosystem that just didn't get a bite at that. So that's what we're thinking there. And that may be a good option for people. And it's not going to be a little cheapy token. We're probably going to do, like $10 a token or something like that, because this is a different thing. This is not a utility asset. Anyway, that's all the news we have on that. I got like 14 emails, so this solves those emails. We will continue, and hopefully we'll have some answers by this weekend. We're going to talk about it with the digital private clients. What we'll do is a small test. We'll do a small test, and if that works and everything's fine, it'll be only at Node Market. I mean, I guess it could go anywhere else, but it'll be only at Node Market. We will create, obviously, a whole pair system for that, like for all the other assets. Like if you go here and you go exchange, and you go, oh, okay, cool, hypercycle, click on there. You will see this for that asset as well. Know what I'm saying? So there we go. Cool. Well, okay, I can buy, I can sell, yes, and you'll have these. Okay, great. Probably won't be as liquid because that ain't what we're doing. Okay, Smog token. Who would buy Smog token? Oh, it's another Solana meme coin. Of course. When it's working, right? When it, you better hope that none of you are ever on any medical devices that are leveraging the Solana blockchain. You're dead. You're dead. Think about that. Everybody, if you would have been in a life-threatening situation with a Solana phone, you're dead. 5 hours. And that was the fastest they've ever reset. Before, it took days. 5 hours. Oh, I just fell in a ravine. My arms, I'm bleeding. 5 hours, dead. Oh, I just got in a car wreck, dead. Oh, I lost my kid, gone. I mean, like, I don't know if people was like, oh, it's kind of cute. No, ha ha ha, Solana, I love it. I love them gains. That's some stupid illogical thinking. Because imagine how stupid people perpetuate bullshit projects. Not good, man. Not good. That's all right, Howard. What is the current value of? We don't know. There's really no way to know. The value is whatever the last money came in. We were in at a certain price. They're now looking for investment at a other price. They may or may not divulge that publicly at some point in the near future. I certainly will not divulge it publicly. But it's a big number. All right. Okay. So let me see if there's no questions. We'll go take a quick look at markets. I kind of want to stay. I'm not going to talk about buying or selling of anything, just to get a sense of where we are, because we're in a bull market-y type environment. It's best to focus on, some way to quantify utility. Notice that Ethereum's been, lately it was tracking this week. Over the last 30 days, that's kind of where you need to back out to about 30 days, really, and to become more sensible. So over the last 30 days, Bitcoin's up 19.5%, pretty good. All this stuff beats Fed funds. It beats the bond market, right? So there's already success. Almost just shy of 10% for Ethereum, but again, I think that's going to run. My guess, who knows? You have the ETF decision like the 10 days into May. And I said this yesterday, but I do agree that Ethereum, it's probably the next. I don't think they give it the green light at this decision period, but I think it's the next ETF. But I also think it's probably the last one for a while. Is XRP? Are they going to allow XRP to have an ETF a fund? No. Cardano, probably not, because everybody hates Charles. Even though the coin's performing pretty good, doesn't matter. Everybody hates Charles for whatever reason. He's cool. Charles is cool, and he's smart. He's very intelligent, but he really rubs people the wrong way. Doge, never, never, no reason, doubtful. Like, you just go down the list. It's just unlikely. Anyway, okay, who's having a stellar day? VeChain. VeChain is having a stellar day, and there's probably some old snarky news behind it, but when you're in a bull market environment, these kinds of things can happen. Congrats to those of you. This was something, well, I'm not going to talk about where we got in at, but I think we started, this might be a question for Philip, the ultimate like scorecard keeper. But anyway, this was something we looked at a while ago, and we were like, yeah, there's a gamble there. Anyway, Howard, we always wait your arrival, buddy. Okay. Well, if you pass the New York bar is probably the toughest one to get over, actually. So, like, if we could be legit there, we just have to figure out if we can do it. We want to do it with a small amount, and then if it works and nothing effing blows up, we're going to allow that early group of digital private clients who had assets. If they said, "Hey, I have 1%, I want to do 0.25% into, tokens," and that would give them some liquidity, and it would give you guys. But also remember, if someone's selling, they're exiting. So everybody's entry is someone else's exit. You have to be just cognizant of that. But it depends. It's a value proposition. Okay. So yes, that'll be cool. All right. Will this only be for DI members? It'll be the test round will be for DIs. Yes. The test thing to make sure the token works, to make sure everything's good on the exchange. But once the tokens arrive on the exchange, they're on the exchange. And again, we are not a custodian. There's no custodian. It's just you and somebody else's wallet. That's the beauty of a true, over-the-counter exchange with no human middlemen, no intermediaries. You don't need intermediaries. That's the whole point of this disintermediated systems. These decentralized, they're not really decentralized, but they're definitely they're trying to be disintermediated. Anyway, okay. Oh, by the way, you're saying, well, what's going to be our teaching today? I'm going to do a quiz like we did Tuesday, but we're going to do a quiz on macro. We're going to talk options. We're going to talk bonds, fixed income. Oh yeah. All that old boring shit. That's right. So get ready. All right. Do you know and have you vetted the people running HyperPG and HyperPool? Please advise. I haven't personally met them and vetted them. They're private companies that are partnered with Hypercycle. Penguin. Sam, do the research. Why would you ask me about that? You should. Okay, everybody here. If I tell you I like something, should that mean really anything to you? Or rather, should you ask what or should you ask why? Let's reduce it to that. Let's see what you guys got. Should you answer, whenever I say, or Brandon says, or anybody that you're listening to, they say, oh, I like this, or I like that, or I don't like this or that. What should your question be? Should it be what do you like, or should it be why? Let's see if you guys get it. This is the first question. Oh, you guys are good. Bam, bam, bam. There's 3 people that are not going to fall victim to FOMO, I hope. Bam, bam. Yes, you guys got it. It's why. Always ask why. Never ask what. The what is easy. There's plenty of what's out there. You guys are going to ask. It should be ingrained. Wait. Why? Like a little kid that's looking at something perplexing. They go, why? Why? They don't go, what? Little kids never say what. They say why. They only say what when they're trying to avoid you. So, yeah, it's a why. So, Sam, to your question, go and research HyperPG. You've researched Hypercycle. You're content with that. Go research Penguin and the partnership. and see if you like that organization and what they're doing in Paraguay with hydroelectric power and all that. You got to do your research, buddy. I can't do it for you. Wouldn't do. I mean, I'll do it for you, but you still can't believe it. Assume that everybody's out to get you. This is a good question for another quiz question. Quiz number 2. Crypto in general is 3 things. I'm going to give you a hint. Illiquid ... What's the answer? Crypto is 3 things. 3 things. And I'll tackle this question. Speaking of layer 2s, why would that be speaking of layer 2s? Cardano is not a layer 2. Cardano is a protocol. So why hasn't, I mean, they would have to create USDC pools, and there would have to be big liquid pools of ADA and Cardano and USDC. I think they were attempting it. I'm sure it's somewhere but Cardano had some of their own stable coins. They were trying to COTI and DJED. They have their own stable coin projects. I think it would be smart for them to be running on for USDC to be running on Cardano rails. Why wouldn't you want your dollar stable coin everywhere? But I don't know. Those are much more nitty-gritty questions for that ecosystem. Well, okay. Aaron asked, Nick, will you be taking any profits on coins that are up over 100%? That's an investment question, Aaron. You got to do whatever feels good for you. Remember, we're public facing. Always ask why. Yes. I like you guys. You guys are good. And never trust Nick. Matter of fact, even on my Instagram, it says, assume I'm scamming you. Because there's been fake ones. And the fake ones, by the way, they never put assume I'm scamming you. And if it says assume I'm scamming you, then assume that you're getting scammed. Yeah, that's good. I don't really want anybody to just agree. You don't have to agree. The whole point of this, why this is different than these other bullshitty places you go to get information, is we're not telling you what to do. We're giving you a framework for thinking that's much more efficient, and that framework for thinking has made us money for many years. Many years of money, a lot of it. That's one thing that I'm not bashful about. You get all these dudes like, oh, do you want to make, look, man, if your thinking's not right, you can get lucky, but you're not going to be consistent. If your thinking's right, if you're thinking about thinking, if you're pragmatic and a critical thinker, and you have game theory and you understand your own cognitive biases, you will just statistically make better decisions, and those will equal money. A lot of it. Period. Your friends probably won't like you. I don't give a shit. Right? When people ask me for advice, I tell them, and they usually don't want to hear it. But what's the point? So you got to get your mind right. I listened to this comedian. He was really funny. He said, you want to know the secret to quit smoking? Quit smoking. Just quit smoking. These people, I have these habits and this and that. Stop. I watch reality TV. Stop. I'm very wasteful. If you know the things that you do that are not good, simply stop doing them. People put the rubber band on their wrist, and every time they do the stupid behavior, they slap themselves. That's a little weird, but I get it. I used to bite my lip. I don't know why. It was whatever. I used to bite my lip like I'm being in school, whatever, and I bite my lip. And then what I would do is I had to create a way to not bite my lip. So I tried the little thing with the rubber band. That didn't work. I ended up breaking a pencil. So I had pencils. You don't want to break a pencil. That's you don't want to do that. In school, you need pencils. So if I bite my lip, I'll be like, crap, and I would break a pencil. And after I started having to buy those pencils, I ain't biting my lip no more. Lips perfect. So you have to find a way to to get rid of these habits, the easiest way is just be honest and be aware of it. So if we lead you to thinking correctly, and yes, that is correct, illiquid assets on illiquid exchanges traded by mostly sketchy individuals. The good news is every day it seems like another one goes to jail or whatever. We don't know what's going to happen with Tika, but we know it ain't good. Once the AG is looking into you, it ain't good. Don't steal from people, bro. I called that dickhead out a long time ago. Everybody's like, you don't understand. Tika's cool, man. No, he's not, dude. I know people that have worked with him. They hate him. He's a dick. And you know what? You can be a thief or you can be a dick. But if you're both, your days are numbered. Like the Thomas Crown affair. Did anybody here see the Thomas Crown affair? He's like a cool like art heist dude. He's like doing art heists. He's very clever heists. And like replacing this with that and all this kind of crap. You're like, yeah, Thomas Crown, yeah. He's cool. Why? Because he's debonair. He's Pierce Brosnan. He's not a dick. But if he was a dick, you'd be like, man, I hope that guy gets arrested. No, that was a great movie. Cool music. So good. All right. So yes, all of crypto is illiquid assets on illiquid exchanges being traded by sketchy individuals. Someone was asking me yesterday, I was having lunch and they were like, just this whole crypto thing's so confusing. I was like, well, wait a minute. Why is it confusing? You have money in your bank account, right? Yes. Okay. Is it paper money in a box or is it digital money? They're like, digital money. I'm like, cool. Okay. That's digital money already. Already the world is digital money. Yes. There's some little paper notes floating around to represent currency for stooges, but mostly the world is already digital. When a bank sends money to another bank, they don't put a bunch of cash in a box, put it on the Pony Express and ship that thing over. No, the money's already digital. The difference is instead of a bunch of banks and quasi-central banks and bankers in the middle of these transactions deciding when a transaction is good and when it isn't, you've replaced it with software. That's it. And that software solves a bunch of computer science problems. The biggest one was the Byzantine generals problem. And that's a situation. Has anybody studied the Byzantine generals problem in computer science? It's a very interesting game theoretical problem where how do you, I'm going to butcher it and simplify it, but how do you do business? How do you do a transaction with untrusted parties? How are you sure, like the swap, the handoff, how does that work? Right? And in this case, the Byzantine generals, the classic problem is you have a city and that city is a rectangle. Okay. Let's just think of a square. And at each corner you have a different army. These armies have all agreed to work together, but they're not necessarily friends. Matter of fact, they're not friends at all. They're frenemies. And so each one of them would love to have the city all for themselves. But there's no way. Either they all storm the city and take it over and split the spoils, or they don't. None of them go. Because if 1 out of 4, 2, 3 out of 4 attack the city and the fourth one doesn't, then it will fail because the city's defensible, right? So how do you all agree to go or all agree not to go with untrusted parties? And you have to assume they're out to get you. And this is the Byzantine generals problem. And so in the crypto space and computer science, a Byzantine agent is a bad actor. But you can have systems where the software is elegant enough that it can deal with bad actors up to a certain percentage. Bitcoin, it's talked about as the 51% attack. If more than 51% of the agents are bad actors, they can pervert the network because they could create their own chain and they could keep throwing compute at it, and that chain would be longer, and Bitcoin functions off the longest chain, right? And so that would effectively fork the network to that chain. It's not really a fork. It's just that that's the chain. It could create it. Anyway, that gets into some very nitty gritty stuff. But long story short, it's a longest chain type scenario. Now, not all blockchains are equal, and not all distributed systems are blockchains. And that's where all of the proof of stuff comes into play. Proof of work, proof of stake, proof of liveness, proof of humanity, proof of being a douchebag, proof of. Then you get into directed acyclic graphs, which is more like a lattice of transaction. And each of the nodes in some different ways broadcasts to other nodes, some discriminately and some indiscriminately, like a kind of a random broadcasting. And what they are sometimes referred to, like Hedera, as a gossip protocol. And then other nodes will gossip about the gossip that they heard, and in that way you can see that whole transactional history just through the gossip of these nodes and their direct and indirect broadcasting of transactions. That's basically how a directed acyclic graph structure works. So anyway, and there's a few of those, and they're kind of cool and they're very fast, but it's give and take, right? Like there's a lot to it, but what crypto did simply is replaced middlemen with middle software. Okay, and I'll give Novogratz credit. He said middleware. I'm sure he got it from somebody else, but he did say middleware in an interview. So even though I think he's a complete douchebag idiot, I don't think he's a thief. I think he's just an idiot. And remember, idiots, they will lose you money the same as a thief. They're just dishonest about it because they'll defend their position. So in some ways, he's worse. But never ascribe malice when stupidity is usually the answer. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if I die from a seizure tomorrow, next week, with you and Brandon receive an email with my kid. You better not. I'm taking your shit, buddy. I'm gonna party. I'm gonna party like there ain't no yesterday. You guys saw it. Howard's giving me all his stuff. You better make that email to Brandon, because I'm absolutely partying with all your stuff. I'm gonna smoke crack until, and my cats, me and the cats are gonna smoke as much crack as we can get. All right. Let's see. Was there anything else exciting other than VeChain? What a weird. Just so you guys know, VeChain is I was very bullish about VeChain long ago because I thought, okay, here's a chance to get in some kind of protocol exposure in China. It kind of checked all those boxes of projects that would be very hard to kind of get a hold of. I'm glad it's going up. Is it ever going to see 26 cents again? There's no way to know. We're going into a big bull market, I think. So who knows? I mean, this is just a weird one. It's China, and from one day to the next, China can be messy. But I guess it's good to have some kind of exposure to this stuff. Anyway, okay. Who else is interesting? Sia Coin. Yeah, Sia Coin. It's a dumpster fire. But $500 million, and just about any project can get $1 billion. So yeah, all I'm doing is looking and seeing where's some excitement. Sophia, yeah, it's up 15%. Why? Probably some tweets. Does it mean anything? Probably not. Why? Because it's an illiquid ass token. All right. Cogito, no one cares, and Nunet, clearly no one cares because it goes down like 10% a day. And Hypercycle, we're waiting for the squeeze. It's going to be closer to you think. We are whispering. We could maybe get it during the show. Depends what Bitcoin does, but it would be interesting if we could get that 2 trillion. Let's keep an eye on that. Let's see if we get 2 trillion today while we do some Q&As, some Q's and A's. No, I won't steal. The good news, Howard, is I won't steal. Yes. I'll do a lot of things, damn it, but stealing is not one of them. And actually, I don't do drugs. And I'll tell you this, I've never been drunk. I've never been high. I've never smoked a cigarette. The last time I tasted beer was when I was about 3 years old. My dad gave me a sip of it. I just about puked, and that put like something in my brain. What's funny is like the smell of beer makes me sick to my stomach. The smell of liquor is actually kind of very pleasing. So like, I will smell, like I like the smell of whiskey and stuff like that. Nothing tastes as good as Dr. Pepper. You guys know that. That's an actual from the universe. Anyway, yeah. He's got a dead man switch, Mary. Got a big old dead man switch. Yeah, I don't steal. In the Navy, that was the first thing. We don't lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those among us who do. Um, well, even there is a lie, right? Like the Navy's been caught lying all the time, so whatever. But yeah, you gotta have some rules. All right, let's look at some questions. Let's look at some macro. Go big. Okay, macro questions. Let's keep an eye on that. Oh, 1980. Ooh, 20 billion away. I know that sounds like a lot, but that's really not. Okay, first question on the agenda. Go back small so we can look at this. First question on the agenda is, in your own words, this is a tough one. It's not a tough one, but I want you to reduce it to the minimum amount of words, make it as simple as possible and no simpler. What is dollar cost averaging? Dollar cost averaging. I'm going to actually write. No, I'm just going to wait. What is dollar cost averaging in your words? You hate Dr. Pepper. What are you, communist, Kathy? Oh, I see the American flag. Are you going to MAGA, make America great again? MAGA. Yeah. It's like our president. He may be in jail, but we like him. Okay. Kind of, but investing in an asset on a regular basis, well, kind of, but that still doesn't determine small amounts of different times. Yes, but we're not quite there either. You guys are close. You're right around the edge. Purchasing an asset over time to equal. Yes, Sean nailed it. Systematic process. Also, Dwayne nailed it. In increments at regular intervals. Deborah nailed it, except the increments. You need to specify the increments should be they have a couple of qualities, but you're getting it. They should be affordable. They should come out of your cash flow. Remember, income, expenses, assets, liabilities. What's left is your cash flow. Some of that will go towards investing. Some of that will go towards high risk investing in illiquid assets on illiquid exchanges with sketchy individuals, most of which want to steal all your shit. Those increments. Then weighted against the teams that you believe, after looking at the team, the timing, the tokenomics, the technology, and why the token exists, that you believe can achieve use, utility, and wide scale adoption. And then based on your level of conviction of those assets. Whew. But yeah, you guys basically got it. Same amount of money. I think it could be the same amount of money. I think it's a palatable amount of money, an amount of money that you are tolerant to invest based on your cash flow at intervals, to, like it was earlier said, to reduce emotion, to even out the purchases, to equalize high and lows. So you guys are getting there. Consistent basis. I like that. Yeah, you guys are all hitting the right points. You're hitting the salient points. And yes, as simple as possible, but remember, as simple as possible has to give me all the information. Don't qualify your qualified statement, buddy. Let's see. Investing fixed amounts at regular intervals to reduce the impact of market fluctuations. Yes. And that will also reduce emotion. It's good. That should be like an assumption. All right, cool. So yes. Dollar cost averaging is a term I'll mention from time to time. Essentially, it means spreading your investment over a longer period of time and investing on intervals, randomized. Yes, you guys all nailed it. Okay, good. Now, that's not fair because you guys won't get that one. I want to give you ones that you can get, but that you're going to have to dig a little bit. Ooh. What is the aim of studying economics? What is the aim of studying economics? This is going to be a tough one. I'm looking for one word, really, one specific word or one set of phrases. What is the aim of studying economics? And I guarantee you, anybody that's in the field of economics, they won't get this. Jeff Snyder would get it, but that's about it. Let's see what you guys got. What do you guys got for me? All your money to crypto. Get them. You nailed it. Well, that's part of it. I mean, that's part of studying all of this. I mean, obviously, you all want to be a competent fiduciary. Yes, okay. The fiduciary part's correct, but that's not really. This is more along the lines of markets work, market behavior, but even more specific. The thing about economics is it is the study of how humans interact with scarce resources. Let me bring up the banner. The aim of studying economics is to understand the decision process behind allocating the currently available resources. The needs always unlimited, but resources being limited. Does that make sense? It's about resource availability. It's about the limitations in resources, the complexities of the market clearing mechanisms that transfer value related to those resources. It's not always transferring those resources. A lot of times, most times, all of those resources are financialized. And then you're in some weird perversion where you're trading synthetic calls on assets that, anyway. All right. Speaking of calls, what is a call option? Ooh, very good, Tracy. She the only one that nailed, she, he, or they, I can't assume pronouns, the only one that nailed resource. Oh, no, David got it. Resources, good. I was looking for resources. Let's see, who else knocked that? Okay, what is a call option? Good old-fashioned call option. That's good. Yeah, Catherine, that's a good one. Call option. What is a call option in the business? I know that there's like a 10-second lag or something like that, so I'm waiting to see these. A demand to meet obligation. It is kind of, but there's a lot more specifics. That's too vague. The right to buy asset at a predetermined price. Yes. Joe crushes. The right to buy specific. Sounds crushes. The right to purchase or sell. No. Calls are on the calls. Well, that's too vague, Dale. You're right. You could purchase or sell the call option, but the actual asset, the underlying asset, it's the right to, I'm going to put the definition and then I'm going to describe a little bit, but so that you guys get this. The contract itself gives the option buyer the right, but not the obligation to purchase an asset at a specific price. Does that make sense? To purchase at a specific price. Okay. Now, can you buy or sell those? Yes. What is a naked options contract? What's the difference between a naked contract and a covered contract? Naked and covered. Howard, don't answer this because I already know you're going to get gross with it. You answer it in your mind. You do not answer it on paper. You guys got the right idea. Let's see if you get the specifics. Naked. Yes. Naked, you don't own the asset. Covered, you do. No, it's not really one-sided. Naked just means you don't own the underlying asset. Yeah, you guys are nailing it. Now you're getting into the nitty-gritty. Nice. No stop loss? No. This has nothing to do with stop loss. Dale, you not have the security. Yes. Naked selling and buying is super dangerous. Covered means you have the underlying asset. Yes. Good. Okay, you guys already know more than your brokers. You realize that, right? Even though this is on the Series 7 and the SIE 64, whatever it is. Okay, put options. Let's do it. What's a put option? I'm going to tell you. It is a contract because we just did call options. It's the other side. It is a contract that gives the options buyer, remember the person buying that options contract, the right but not the obligation to sell or sell short a specified amount of an asset at a pre-specified time. Now, why people get so confused about this? There are covered puts. A covered put is basically a cash secured put. So think, covered call, I own stock, like you own Apple shares. I sell calls against it. Someone else is buying those calls. They want the right to buy my shares. I'm going to sell them the opportunity for the right to buy my shares at a specific price. They may or may not exercise that. I get my money no matter what. And if they do exercise, I get my money and I get my strike price, right? So that'd be a covered situation. That would be covered, okay? A put option itself is the opposite of a call option. It's the option that gives the buyer the right but not the obligation to sell. Now, the other side, you have a covered call. I own the asset. I sell calls against it. You have a cash secured put, right? This is writing an at the money or out of the money put option and simultaneously setting aside enough cash to buy the asset, because this is the opposite. Meaning, if you're gonna sell a put, you have to be willing to be put into the asset. Let's say it's Apple, and Apple's trading at $100, and I have $90. Okay, I got $90. I could sell the $90 cash secured put. I could sell that put. If the price goes below 90, I'm going to get put in at 90. Even if it goes to 20, I'm going to pay 90. It's currently at 100. So I'm going to make some money, but I have to have the cash available to have it allocated towards purchasing that share in the event that the price goes down and I get executed into it. I get put. That's getting put in. And it gets a little wobbly in your mind, but it makes sense when you look at it. Okay, let's switch gears and get a little bit even more wonky. What is this is going to be tricky. What is a treasury bill? And remember, there are bills, there are notes, and there are bonds. What is a treasury bill? No one's going to get this unless you're like super Googlers. But I want you to do it out of your mind. What is a treasury bill? Yeah, if you're an options buyer, it's foolish. Be an option seller. Be the casino, right? Yes, be the casino. Exactly. If the price is 100, they're not going to put you for 90. But in order to sell the put, in order to sell the 90 put, you have to have 90 in cash. You can't sell a cash secured put without the cash. That's the whole thing. You can't be a put seller without the cash. You can be a put buyer for the premium. Short-term U.S. debt. Go on. Short-term U.S. debt issued by the federal government that mature over time. Okay. You guys are good. Short-term government securities with maturities ranging from a few days to 52 weeks. Bills are sold at a discount from their face value. Okay, so bills, just think a year or less. What is a bill for us? A bill is a trade, right? Our trades are a year or less. Bills, trades. Now, what is a treasury note? What is a treasury note? And again, along the treasury bill curve, there are certain maturities that are much more interesting to banks and investors. And the reason banks and money markets and things like that are in the government debt market is it's a very safe, liquid market usually, and they know they're going to get their cash back, and they're just making money with money. Like, why have it sit in my bank account when I could be making, some basis points on it, something 4, 5, 6, depending on where on the maturity on the curve you are, right? All right, short dated government security yielding no interest, but issued on date redemption. Yeah, you got to be a little bit more. The most liquid government short-term debt. Remember, bills, notes, bonds. There's 3 areas: bills, notes, bonds. It has to do with where they are on that curve. Treasury notes, government securities that are issued with maturities of 2, 3, 5, 7, and 10 years. They pay interest every 6 months. Okay. Bonds also pay every 6 months, but they have different maturities. So bills, we talked about now. Notes, think BNB, like BNB chain, bills, notes, bonds. What are treasury bonds? What are treasury bonds? Well, this encompasses, if you're talking about Tim, that's notes and bonds. It's kind of mixed in there. That's security issued by government, fixed rate, interest rate up to. That's on the bills. That's a bill. 1 to 3 year. Yeah, kind of, but it goes up to 10. Long term. That's right. We're at the long end of the yield curve. And what is the most realistic determining factor for where yields fall? A way to think of it is that a yield curve, I mean, if you go back to kind of the only kind of economists that we really actually believe know what the F they're talking about. A yield curve is a reflection of growth and inflation expectations. Okay? I want everyone to write this. The yield curve is a reflection of growth and inflation expectations, right? Sloping up and to the right, healthy. Sloping down and to the right, inverted, not healthy, right? You want a gentle slope up and to the right. Why? Because you should get paid more for giving the government your money for a longer period of time. All right. Yes. Growth and inflation expectations. Yield curve is a reflection of growth, not just growth. Growth and inflation expectations. You're always thinking about that. If you think inflation's 5% a year, are you going to give your money to the government for 3%, 4%? You got to at least beat inflation. No, you're going to go look somewhere else. You say, man, if that's where inflation is, there's got to be other places to make money. Got to be something going on. I'm just going to get eroded. My savings are going to get eroded, right? And if people are hiding in the government debt markets, when people pile into debt, what happens to the yield? The yield comes down. You can think of that yield as a measure not only of growth and inflation expectations, but competition for those instruments. The more people piling in, the less the rate comes down. The price of the bond goes up and the rate goes down. They're like on a seesaw. Growth and inflation expectations. Yes. Okay. Bonds. Pay interest every 6 months. They mature in 20 or 30 years. They're even talking about doing a 50-year. Wow. Vomit. Okay. We're going to switch gears. Well, not a full switch. What is a simple definition of inflation? And there's two answers that I'll take. What is a simple definition of inflation? Teeter-totter. Yeah, seesaw, right? Isn't that the same thing? Teeter-totter, seesaw? Isn't that the same thing? Yield curve is a graph that shows the relationship between interest rates and the maturity of bonds. Yes. With an inverted yield curve, it seems to say no one wants to own long term. It could say that. You could have a situation where you have, I mean, there's definitely a lot of indecision, and you don't know where the economy is going to be way out, and so you decide, you know what, I'm going to roll over my debt at shorter rates because I just don't know. Or you might say, when you have a flat or inverted yield curve, because you could also have a situation where everybody's piling into the end. Now, the whole thing should move together, but you can have it roll over, and that's bad. That's typically a sign of like a deflationary environment or something leading to something leading into a recession. Mostly. All right. Yes, monetary phenomenon. Good. A little bit more. Too much money chasing too few goods. True. Also true. It's a monetary phenomenon, but it's a little bit more than that. Reduction in the value of money. Yes, but it's kind of like it depends why. You need a little bit more. Always and everywhere. Yes, correct. Inflation is always and everywhere monetary phenomenon, and it cannot exist without the monetary component. And yes, the Fed, that is correct. You copying, pasting, son of a bee. But yes. Sure. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so there's two ways to look at it. One, sustained consumer price increases. Sustained, not 6 months, not 2 years. Sustained, always and everywhere. Pervasive price increases usually due to the increase in money supply in the hands of people. If you increase the money supply, but it stays on a bank ledger, nothing's actually happened in the economy. If the money doesn't escape, it can't be inflation. Yes, the currency can exist, but it doesn't matter if it's locked behind a gate. So inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, and it cannot exist without the money part of it. And really, to be honest, I should say the currency component. The currency. You print more currency and that currency gets into people's hands. Now it's more currency units chasing the same amount of assets, or a relatively fixed supply of assets, or a supply shocked amount of assets. You can go the other way, right? You don't have to increase the money supply. You decrease the supply of those resources, right? Those non-infinite resources. What is a good way to think of the difference between small e economics and big E macroeconomics? I'll give you a hint. What is, let me say it like this. I have two terms, CPI and long-term bond yields. Which one of those is small e? Which one of those is big E? Which one of those is macro? Long-term bond yields or CPI? What's macro? What's micro? You can give me a sloppy answer because that was a sloppy question. Yes. Not printing money, to be technical, to printing currency. Money is anything that extinguishes debt. Money could be a variety of things. Yes. Micro is local, macro is global. That is absolutely correct. I'm looking for which one is which. Bond yields are macro. Yes. Talents nailed it. Nailed it. Joe nailed it. Sean nailed it. Yes. The difference between small e, CPI. Remember, looking out the rearview mirror 3 seconds ago. CPI. Well, really 2 months ago, because they're always like, right? Big E, long-term bond yields. That combination of growth and inflation expectations spread across the universe. Economic trends. Price shocks, things like that. Small e. They can become big E, a worldwide pandemic. That can become macro. But mostly those things are small e. Supply and demand side. Cool? And I'm going to leave you with one final quote. First I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you all to define value. And this is a tricky one because everybody has a different definition of what value is. So what is your definition of value? What is your definition of value? Let's see what you guys got. What do you think value is? And this could be different for each person. So as simple as possible, but no simpler. Well, you're still thinking in terms of money. I think Howard kind of nailed it. I mean, Howard is the first one that nailed it. It doesn't have to be up. I mean, I guess it's kind of on an emotional upside, Sean. What I'm willing to give up or pay for something. Yeah, but that may be how you price it. It's not about pay. You don't pay. I mean, you might go help somebody and get value out of it. You might get a smell of flower and get value out of it. I think this could be correct. The importance, worth, or usefulness of something. You guys are perception of worth. That's getting close. Nevin, nice one. Material things that they don't always have to be. Value is anything I want. Close. I mean, I think how important, that's good to enjoy life. I think we want to enjoy life, Kenneth, but I don't know if that's the definition of value. I think it's more, I think it could be a little more simple than that. I'm going to use a quote. And by the way, this is not Jerome Powell. Okay, just so you know. If people value something, it has value. If people do not value something, it does not have value. There's no intrinsic. This whole idea of intrinsic value doesn't exist. My definition of value is, it's kind of tricky, isn't it? It is an intangible measure of happiness, and it's different for each person. I think it is, at its core level, the amount of happiness I attribute to a person, place, or thing. That's the name. That's all of them, right? The amount of value that I would place, the amount of happiness I can distill out of a person, place, or thing. I think that's, and it's a little bit different for everyone. What you believe you deserve. Well, you might not deserve. I mean, you know, Ted Bundy, did he deserve value? I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe his last meal was like valuable last meal. Yeah, value. It's funny, but you're not supposed to use the question and the answer. I don't think you can say value is what is valuable to you. I think it's a measure of happiness. I think that's it's too vague a question. Well, no, you don't have to have a value of what, John? I think the nature of value is a very important thing to consider. I think Howard mostly nailed it, but Howard, you can't say that you nailed it. That immediately unnails it. It's a measure of, it's how you attribute happiness to a person, place, or thing. And so it's going to be different for all of us. We find value, we find happiness in different things. And this is the deal, is when you reduce all the work that we're doing to build our portfolios and to make more money and to be better and all this kind of stuff, and woo, we're rich, we're wealthy, whatever. Wealthy of what? Rich of what? I mean, there are monks that live on the side of mountains that apparently are quite happy, like really, really ecstatically happy. So it is a measure of the amount of happiness you get from a person, place, or thing. So yeah, and yeah, you could say pleasure too. I think you reduce it to happiness, and that's tricky. So I urge everyone to think about not money, not cash, not a number. Spend some time today thinking about what makes you happy. Where do you derive happiness? And Howard, if you wear brown pants, you wouldn't worry about spilling your coffee. A non-limit, yeah. Well, wealth would be the non-limit of what you can do with your available resources, not with your wealth. Remember, 11, you can't have the question in the answer. Wealth can't be something to do with wealth. But yes, I think you're knocking on the right door. Value is what brings a measure of satisfaction in a product or service. No, listen, I think all of you need to challenge yourself on what value really is, on what happiness really is. I think you need to spend some time thinking about it. I think it's important, and it is worth the mental challenge. That's what we're all working for. We're not working for money. We're all trying to achieve happiness. We're all trying to create value in our lives. But you have to define that. You can't go on a vacation if you don't know where you're going. You don't just go to the airport and be like, give me a ticket. They're like, where to? Surprise me. If you do, that's stupid. And you're most likely going to be surprised in a bad way. You need to have a destination in order to have a journey. This is a financial journey. Have a damn destination. Have a girlfriend half my age. Well, maybe, but I'm sure that comes with a whole bag of complexities as well. Anyway, stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor insolvent drunk strung on meth grandmother wouldn't do. Or Brandon, who he's got to be in the tank top today. Who we kidding? He's definitely tank topping it. We'll see you guys soon. Investor Weekend is coming. What, 1 month from now. Investor Weekend. Woo-woo! And then we will have you some more details for True, the True token. And by the way, this is a node market thing. This is not anywhere else in the Singularity Net ecosystem. And to be honest, I really don't give a shit if they if they join us, don't join us, participate or not. This is just something that we're probably going to make available to private clients and digital investors. So those of you that get to go behind the wall, you will have access. Everyone else, no offense, but good luck out there. All right. And on that note, I must bid you adieu. I have to take Kitty to the vet.